Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into a tool that will seriously level up your shell scripting, making it way cleaner and a whole lot more powerful. We're talking about bash functions.
You know the feeling, right? If you've ever written a script, you've probably found yourself copying and pasting the same chunk of code into like 3 different places. It's clunky, it's a pain to read, and hey, if you need to fix a bug in it, you have to hunt down every single copy. There has to be a better way. And of course there is. It's called a function. The best way to think about it is like a recipe. You write down the steps for a task one time, you give that recipe a name, and from then on, whenever you need to do that task, you just call out the recipe's name. No more rewriting the steps over and over.
This right here is the whole philosophy. It's the big idea. You put in the effort to write and test a solid piece of code just once. And after that, you get to use it again and again pretty much for free. It saves you so much time and makes your scripts way easier to understand.
Okay, so let's get our hands dirty and build our very first one. We're going to start with the classic Hello World example. Think of this as the first simple tool we're adding to our scripting toolbox. So here it is. Our first function is named greet. And as you can see, all it does is echo Hello World to the screen. Super simple, I know, but it shows you the basic structure perfectly. You've got a name, a set of parentheses, and your commands tucked inside these curly braces.
All right, let's break this down. That first part, greet function, that's the function definition. This is where we are teaching Bash a new command, a new trick called greet. But, and this is important, the code inside doesn't actually run yet. It's that final line, just the word greet by itself, that calls the function. That's the trigger. That's what makes it go. So you always define it first, then call it when you need it. Now, functions can also play nice with the rest of your script. In this example, we set a variable called name outside of the function. And because it's defined out there in the main script, the welcome function can see it and use it. This is a really cool feature. Functions can access these global variables, which makes them super flexible.
So using external variables is cool, but what if you want to give a function different info every single time you run it? Well, for that, we use arguments. This is where functions go from being static to truly dynamic.
Let's see this in action. We'll build a tiny little calculator function called add. Its only job is to take 2 numbers and give us the sum. The magic here is that we're not going to hard-code the numbers inside the function. Nope. We're going to pass them in as arguments when we call it.
So how does this work? Inside the function, you see these special variables, $1 and $2. These are called positional arguments. When we call our function and write add 1020, Bash automatically says, okay, the first thing, 10, goes into $1, the second thing, 20, goes into $2. They're basically just placeholders that let our function work with whatever data we throw at it.
All right, so functions can do stuff, but they can also report back on how things went. Did it work or did it fail? They do this using something called a return status, or you'll also hear it called an exit code.
Check out this check root function. Its whole purpose is to do one simple check. Is the person running this script the root user? It doesn't print anything. All it does is report back with a status, success or failure. Then, look at that if statement below it. It's not checking a variable. It runs the function directly and then decides what to do based on the status it gets back.
So, how does it report back? Well, there's a universal rule in shell scripting. Return 0 means everything went great, success. Anything else, usually 1, means oops, something went wrong, failure. As soon as a function finishes, Bash saves that number, 0 or 1, in a special variable, $sign. So when you write if check_root, you're really telling Bash to run the function and then secretly check if $sign is 0.
Okay, this is a super important point, and it trips a lot of people up. You use return for status codes. Think of it as a silent, invisible signal that just says success or failure. You use echo to print actual text or data to the screen for a human to see. So the key takeaway is, return is for status signals, echo is for visible output.
All right, enough theory. Theory is great, but let's see how this all comes together in a practical, real-world example you could actually go and use right now.
This is a perfect example. A lot of us run the command df-h// to check disk space. Instead of typing that out every time, we can just wrap it in a simple function called check disk. And just like that, checking our disk space is as easy as typing a single, easy-to-remember command.
This is what functions are all about, making your life easier by creating shortcuts for common tasks.
So let's just do a quick recap of the absolute must-know rules. First, you have to define a function before you can use it. Bash reads top to bottom. Second, inside your function, you use $1, $2, and so on to get to the arguments that were passed in. And third, remember the difference. Return is for status codes, echo is for actual text output.
Look, if you only remember one thing from all this, let it be this. Functions are how you turn messy, repetitive scripts into something that's organized, easy to read, and way easier to fix. They are the essential building blocks for any serious shell scripting.
And that pretty much wraps it up. So I'll leave you with a little challenge. Think about your own day. What's one command you type over and over? Or what's one piece of a script you keep copying? How could you wrap that in a function tomorrow and make your life just a tiny bit easier? Thanks so much for joining me.